A scene from The Big Mamu, February 1986. Bud's intro. Jonathan Demme is an important director, a wise and big-hearted man, and good company. We developed The Big Mamu together, inspired by a nonfiction book by Jim Konetka of Austin called City of Fire. Claire Townsend at 20th Century Fox, the executive for the project, was a dear friend and totally simpatico with us. David Axelrod and Ed Pressman were to be the producers. The angle Jonathan and I had on the story was that a bunch of very young, brilliant, and bizarre characters gathered on top of a mountain in Los Alamos and, working literally with screwdrivers and adding machines, managed to build a bomb that would change the world forever. The more I learned about Fermi, Teller, Bohr, Oppenheimer, Groves, and the rest, reading their own books, the more remarkable the situation became. Fermi spoke English like Jimmy Cagney, having learned from the movies. Teller played the piano all night in the crude barracks shared by the scientists and their families with a belching potbelly stove. Saturday nights, the eggheads gathered in the lodge and got drunk on grain alcohol and put on dances and theatrical skits and drag. Pueblo Indians came to watch and dance with them. These were young people, and there were many sexual affairs. It was no secret that Kitty Oppenheimer, wife of the chief egghead, enjoyed sitting on the porch of her cabin nude in the dusk, having a cocktail and waiting for him to come home. Driving to the first big atomic bomb test at Trinity, a carload of the top eggheads blew a tire, stranding them in a desert saloon since there was no spare tires. Earlier, a physicist was lit up and killed by radiation when his screwdriver slipped. President Roosevelt speaks what I saw as the point of the movie when he says is an ironic joke on Darwin that we are busily evolving ourselves out of existence, using the most brilliant of our people to do the dirty work. This idea was not popular in the top office at Fox. We were told the atomic bomb was not the subject for black humor. Demme and I protested that the black humor was in your point of view. The details of the story were as true as a documentary. Nevertheless, out on the sidewalk we went. On the way to the Trinity test site. Exterior, Belen, New Mexico, Roy's Cafe, day. A Ford sedan stops in front of the cafe. The driver jumps out and opens the doors for Oppenheimer, Groves, Teller, and Fermi, and for Colonel Buddy Montana, head of public relations for the Department of War. As the men step out of the car, the left rear tire goes flat with a loud hiss. Driver: they wouldn't give me a spare tire at the motor pool. I told them who my passenger was, and they didn't give a damn. Groves: stay out here and hitch us a ride to Trinity. The five men enter Roy's Cafe, leaving the driver to wander to the edge of the road, which stretches off empty as far as the eye can see. Cut to interior, Roy's Cafe. Groves, Oppenheimer, Teller, Fermi, and Colonel Montana are drinking at the bar. The bartender is an FBI agent, dressed to look like a Mexican. But the bulge of his shoulder holster is unmistakable. Groves: you eggheads don't understand the public mind. We've got to have press releases today. Listen to Colonel Montana. He's a specialist in snookering the public. Colonel Montana: well, I wouldn't call a public relations game snookering the public, but people are going to know something very big happened out here, and that's where I come in as chief of PR for the Department of War. Fermi: I can dictate your press release. Teller: what would you say? Fermi. They pause. A huge meteor struck New Mexico this morning and blasted the shit out of the whole state and all its citizens. Hunters and skiers planning to vacation in New Mexico, be advised. It is now a crater and too hot to touch. Colonel Montana digs in his portfolio and brings out press releases. Colonel Montana: in fact, I do have a press release describing a celestial body smashing into New Mexico. I have prepared press releases to explain a total fizzle, a small embarrassing foop, a major explosion such as we hope for, the destruction of the state of New Mexico, the destruction of the western United States. If the atomic bomb goes off bigger than that, well, to hell with PR game, frankly, gentlemen. Tell her, I'd make it 35 to 1 we don't blow up New Mexico. 1,000 to 1 we don't blow up the whole world. The FBI bartender is leaning close to listen. He looks aghast. Oppenheimer, the press release could say, even though the odds were 1,000 to 1 against them, the most brilliant men in history managed to obliterate the planet Earth today. The FBI bartender drops a beer mug on the floor. Angle. The driver opens the screen door. Driver, I got your ride to Trinity. The men toss dollars on the bar and go out. Fermi looks back at the FBI bartender. Fermi, hey pal, if I was you, I'd dig a hole about 6 feet deep. Fermi laughs and follows the others. The screen door slams shut behind him. And one more letter between these great friends. February the 12th, 1998, to Larry O. King on Getting Older. Dear Your Holiness Lionship, in these uncertain times of anthrax and Saddam and the Pacific Rim financial genius turning out to be mainly another variation of the SNL scam, I want you to know you can count on your clipping service to send you glorious views of your own self and kind of pissy views of pals, such as this brief essay on Willie's new book. This makes twice again Willie has fooled me. I used to believe everything he said, like when he told me his dog Pete jumped out of a 6th floor window in Gotham and landed on his feet unhurt. A year ago, he told me he had a new book called My Dog Skip. I didn't believe that until I saw him signing them in a tent at the book festival in Austin. Then he told me he had written a new book about the making of the movie The Ghosts of Mississippi. I thought, surely not. As we know, Professor, everybody who has been intimately connected with the making of a movie thinks there is a book to be written about the experience. And they're right. But the books are pretty much the same and usually turn out to be lesser works even than the movies they describe. And also, almost nobody gives a shit about the writer's experience on the movie unless it is a tell-all book about sex with glamorous stars of both sexes simultaneously. But here is The Ghosts of Medgar Evers. And Jap's book, exposing all of us as drunken dope fiends, is due out next soon. The Gov tells me. Jap never mentions it. I don't ask. I have just finished a line edit and a scribble in the margins rewrite of the first 531 pages of my epic. I think I have about 100 pages to go. McMurtry has come out with 2 novels since I started this epic. And his new one, Comanche Moon, is 750 pages of print and a large-sized book. Makes my epic look like a novella. Turning 30 hit me only in a romantic poet sort of way, since we were all supposed to die pretty soon or else publish a major literary sensation. Turning 40 and 50 didn't hit me at all because I was too drunk to notice. I was sober at 60, but couldn't really comprehend it. Turning 65 definitely caught my attention, though it was only days before I was suddenly 66. I still don't believe the numbers. I think I am about 40 now, though the mirror disagrees, and my social life is certainly different from what it was at 40, when we stayed up all night and were incredibly charming. Yours in Christ, Bud Shrake.